let's go. Join, let's go. Yeah. We built it. We grind it. That's right, man. We ride it. We cruising. We built it. We grind it. That's right. Let's go. We ride it. Yeah. We cruising. Yeah. We built it. We grind it.
Uneducated Arkansas hillbilly that welds together junkyard crap in my driveway. Nathan, but I go by Nate.
Okay, so Nathan, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
I've just always been interested in how things work, and I've always really enjoyed taking things and trying to find ways to make them better, make them suit me better.
So you just love to dig in and get things that, whether it's already broken or not broken, and just figure out how it works and put it back together, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I like to understand how things work.
Okay, did you ever have a fascination of motorcycles, going from bikes to motorcycles?
I did. Actually, as a kid, I started with bicycles and went into go-karts. Dad got us some go-karts and we rode go-karts. Of course, I'm tearing the motors apart trying to figure out how to make them faster. And then we get four-wheelers, and as life goes on, I got into motocross. Grew up dirt track racing. As I got into a dirt track car for the first time at 14 years old, and pulled out on the racetrack very close to last place, and came back in off the racetrack very close to last place, but I wasn't last place. So I felt like that was a win, but I was ruined for life at that point. I was a racer. It got in my blood, and it's been over ever since. Used to build choppers, ride all across the country. Been in some magazines, on some TV shows. Had a good run with that stuff. Enjoyed it a lot, but it's gotten to the point now where they're too busy looking at their phones to pay attention to what's on the road. So I'm sticking with something that's got a little bit more around me.
Let's go back to where you fell in love with, like you said, did you say stock car racing is what you said?
Yeah, I grew up stock car racing. I actually built my first engine for a stock car at 13 years old.
Okay.
It was like I used to just devour every issue of Hot Rod magazine or Carcraft or anything I could find like that. And my parents were and still are actually minimalists. So subscribing to magazines wasn't something we could do, but I'd scrounge them up everywhere I could, and I'd read them cover to cover over and over and over. And when I was 13 years old, my dad had a stock car and we needed a motor for it. And I told him, I said, Dad, I think we can build one. And looking back on that, it's insane to think that a 13-year-old kid's going to say, Dad, we can build a motor for this. And he said, well, how do you know how to do that? I said, I've read about how. I said, over and over. I said, I know how to do this. And we did it, and it worked. And from that point forward, engines have just fascinated me. And I love them. And like this stuff is just expansion on it as I get a little bit older and gain a better understanding of it and get in a better financial position where I can do these things.
So going with a stock car and building all that stuff, you love it. Did you have like a hero that helped you get into this, a certain driver or a certain car maybe that kind of caught your attention, or just all of it?
I had a hero. He's my dad.
Your dad?
That's his nickname right there.
There you go.
And he wasn't the best. Never had good equipment. We made do with what we had, but he never quit. He kept trying, and he had a whole lot of fun doing it. And to this day, that man's my hero. Probably some of the best times of my life. It was like really, my dad was kind of a quiet guy, kind of did his own thing, and we worked all the time. We had a farm, and we'd haul wood, haul hay, and if we weren't doing that, we were working on a tractor or working on a car or something. But as we started fixing up cars and building cars, we became a lot closer, and it's something I look back on and still cherish.
A lot of good nights in the garage, working late nights, putting cars.
We didn't have a garage. So we did it in the yard.
In the yard. But still good times,
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that whole bonding experience. Did you guys ever race each other? Did you guys have fun racing against each other? Nothing like that?
Never. Always one car operation.
One car operation.
And as time went on, 4 or 5 years ago, I was into outlaw dirt carts. And I had top shelf equipment, really fast cars, won a lot of races. And then there came a year when I decided that I wanted my dad to see what it was like to race with good equipment. So I put him in it. And at 73 years old, the man was out there racing and doing pretty good. And that was, I've got some pictures from that stuff that, once again, I cherish.
So now let's bring it to the day where you said something about maybe like sitting in her bedroom thinking of a project or something like that? Is that what was that?
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
That's how this car came to be. I'll just start at the beginning with this.
Yeah, start at the beginning.
This is 23 Model T Coupe, chopped and channeled, all steel. Buddy of mine sent a link to me on Marketplace just out of the blue, and I just glanced at it and I said, it's somebody's project I never finished. It needs too much. And it just stayed on my mind. And I finally called the guy, and he said, no, man, that was a running driving car, and they pulled the engine out of it. I said, really? So anyway, we come to an agreement on the price, and I just cannonballed over there on a Wednesday night after work and got it, and got back about 3 a.m. and the car, I just put it in the side yard and kind of forgot about it. Well, I had shoulder surgery back in May, and I had 8 weeks where I was laid up in bed and I couldn't do anything. And I'm bad to buy a lot of parts, and just, I plan what I'm going to do, and I buy my parts in advance. So when I get ready to do it, I can just do it all at once instead of do a little bit and wait on parts. That way I can maintain my momentum with the project. Well, I was laying in there and thinking about what I could do with all the parts that I had. And that's how this started. I just realized that I had enough parts to build the majority of this. And I couldn't have done this without some help from some friends, because, with shoulder surgery, I built most of this car one-handed. And I had some friends that came over and helped me set the motor. And I had friends that came cut the firewall out for me. I had a lot of help with this car. I had friends actually went to the junkyard and pulled the rear end out of an Explorer for this car. Did it for me because I wasn't capable of it. And it's amazing to have people like that around you. And I am eternally grateful for it.
Ever thought about doing something like this to one of these, or?
I had a 29 Chevy Roadster at one point. And I had a twin turbo small block in it at one point. Never did get the car on the road. Ended up having to sell it when I got divorced. And I always liked the early stuff. And as a kid, I listened to a lot of Beach Boys and things like that. And, it's like the 5-window coupe is just like the pinnacle of a hot rod, in my opinion. And this is a 5-window coupe. Granted, not a Model A, but a Model T. But I bought the car for $2,800. I've got less than $10,000 in the car the way it sits now.
You were a YouTuber too, right?
Yes.
You talk about the car builds on your YouTube, and you have different ones and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, and my channel, I call it Blue Collar Performance. And the whole goal of it is to, I'm just a blue collar guy. We're at my work. I work at a muffler shop, just average blue collar guy. And my goal is to inspire people to work on their cars. This is not out of reach if you really commit yourself and lower, I hate to say it, but lower your standards a little bit, because a lot of cars never get anything done to them because people are going to build the next world beater. Well, so they have their expectations set so high that they can't be met, and they won't even start on it until they feel like they can meet those expectations. I think it's important just to get it together, get it running, go have some fun with it, and enjoy it, and that's like a budget. Like I said, I've got under $10,000 in this entire car. This is achievable. This can be done by almost anyone. If you commit yourself, this can be done.
You were saying something like how people can put their list together, go to the junkyard, and buy a lot of your parts for really cheap, then go and buy them brand new. You can piece things together, and there's some things you'll have to go get new.
Yeah.
But some things you can go shop to junkyard for, like your rear end you got over there.
Yeah, this engine came from the junkyard.
So they don't have to splurge and spend a whole lot of money. They could just go and find it out in the junkyard and save them some money.
Yeah. This rear end gave $275 for this rear end at the junkyard. It's out of an Explorer. It's got 373 Positrack gears, 31 spline axles, and came with disc brakes. For $300, you can't beat it. The engine, I pulled out of a wrecked Silverado at the junkyard. It was $450 for the engine. Of course, I tore it apart and did a few things to it, but I still don't have much money tied up in the engine. And it's like most of my projects are built exclusively with parts from the junkyard, eBay, and Amazon. And there are some things I have to order from Speedway or Summit or whatever. Some of that's unavoidable, but you can definitely do some cool stuff on a budget.
And also, another question, and this is going to lead into the engine part where you're talking about. You have a talent and a drive, and we're not going to do the desire to drive yet. I'm not going to ask that question just yet. But you have the talent and the drive that if you set your mind to something where you say something, you're going to get it till it's done, correct? Like
Correct.
If you're fixing an engine or something. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm the kind of guy that if I say it, you can believe it. Failure is not an option. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. If I tell you it's going to rain, you should start hunting an umbrella.
So let's tell us about an engine. If an engine is down, you're going to race a vehicle and it's down, what do you do?
No, if I've got an engine down, because, I don't have a shop, I build all this stuff in my driveway. So I don't have a lighted work area, so when it gets dark, I'm pretty well done. So what I'll do rather than lay awake is I'll go to bed early get some rest, and I'll be up at daylight and be back on it. I just, failure's not an option. I'm going to do it.
Right, and I drive to get that engine done.
Yeah, 100%. It's the drive to, really, it's the drive to keep my word. If I said I was going to be somewhere and do something, I'm going to do it.
In your own words, your desire to drive.
Extreme. I love it. It's all I ever wanted to do. As a kid, my mom actually has a picture of me and my dad's old Ford Falcon sitting there with the steering wheel like I was doing something, and I probably wasn't over 5 or 6 years old. And then at 7 or 8 years old, maybe my dad, we had an old square body Chevy with a granny 4-speed in it. He had it 4-low out in the pasture one day in first gear, and of course you can walk faster than those things go in that way. He just got out of the truck and he said, well, I guess you better drive it. And it was one of the happiest moments of my life, you know. And I just love to drive. It's one of my favorite things to do. I really enjoy driving fast, but as I've matured, I've came to understand there's a time and place for that. And I just love cars. I just love cars. I love car culture. I love car people. My favorite people to talk to are not people that are just oohing and awing. My favorite people to talk to are the ones that will actually look at what I've built, know what they're looking at, and maybe offer some constructive criticism.
Do you like to go cruising sometimes? I mean, is there
I
various
cruise around a lot.
stuff you like to do too?
Yeah, I'll drive this thing to work 3 days a week and don't break the speed limit.
Okay,
you know, I'll bring it to town sometimes and cruise around and just ease around. It's as much fun to cruise around in as it is to step on.
So you can take this in the back country and just cruise in it and you'd love it too, correct?
Absolutely. Actually, we did that 2 weeks ago. Okay, so if you got a second, let's check out the inside of it. The inside is extremely simple. It's I used some old push rods to manufacture some door handles, put an 1/8-inch plate firewall and transmission tunnel in case anything explodes. Cup holders, because street cars have cup holders. And really, if it don't make it go, turn, or stop, it don't have it. It's a very simplistic approach.
Did you make the seats? No,
those were in it when I got it. That's one of the things I reused.
So why is the top not here? We got no top.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D. No vitamin D.
Yeah.
So his head just sticks out to here. No.
Yeah. Well, it's just cool. I don't know. It's, you know, these things I've got big plans for this car that include a roll cage, and, you know, over the winter, we're going to put a good cage in it and alter the suspension a little bit. And then next year, we're planning on going no prep racing with it. And we're not going to take it lightly. We're going to try to make a name for ourselves. And so, but the car needs to be safe first and foremost, because honestly, if you turn this thing over without a cage in it, you're a dead man. And that's not okay, because that's my brother's nickname. My brother's going to drive it. This is actually his nickname here. And you can probably guess why.
That's awesome. What a ride.
Pretty sporty?
This thing is crazy. See the name? See the name? Says it all right there. Guaranteed.
Hey, wait, we got a second name up here. I ain't showed on here yet. Right there. But, and actually the number, the 171 over there on the other side, that's my dad's old number. And actually that was what I ran when I was running modified dirt carts. But that's just a tribute to my dad.
And tell us back here about the back.
The back is 8 pounds of crap stuffed in a 5-pound box. It's just fuel tank, battery. Got the battery switch, which is it's full on, whack off. And then my favorite part of the back is my tag.
So real quick before we go to tag, that's like a kill switch. Anything goes to happen?
Yes, if you hit that, the car dies and all electricity is shut off to the car.
In case anything emergency wise.
Yes,
like that too,
100%.
And also save battery power in case too.
Well, it's wired right. It don't drain or nothing, but just safety more than anything. Like if something, God forbids, to happen, you can run up and shut the car off.
And so tell us about the license plate.
That's my very first personalized plate, and I kind of always wanted one, but I never had anything that I thought was worthy of it, and this just seemed fitting.
It's pretty neat. All right, before we move to the front, is there anything else you want to do inside the cab other than add the row bars and stuff for safety?
Well, I'm gonna take all the floors out, the remainders of the floors, and I'm gonna extend them on out to here with everything will be 1/8-inch steel. This thing will be like a safe inside, because once, you know, my brother's going to be driving it and I want him to be safe. That's super, super important to me, because it's not just my brother, it's my best friend.
Yeah.
So I would say we could take a look under the hood if I could find the hood, but since we ain't got a hood, we could just take a look at the motor. And somebody's gonna not like that because I said motor instead of engine.
Well, they're gonna hate us. Who cares?
I don't care. I get haters all the time.
All right, so tell us about this turbo engine here.
Well, it's actually very simple and very cheap setup. It's a L33 aluminum 5.3 out of a 2005 Chevrolet pickup. And I went through, and it had been, somebody pulled the heads off in the junkyard and had a little rust on the crank. So I had the crank machine and put new rings and bearings and stuff in it, gapped them for boost, ported a set of small chamber cylinder heads and put on it, boost the compression. Got a $189 Amazon intake on it, $150 swap meet carburetor. These are $130 eBay turbos, $60 eBay wastegate, $40 eBay blow off valve. It's all just cheap stuff that just works.
And you fabricated a lot of stuff together too?
Almost everything, yeah. It's I built almost all of this in the driveway by myself. I had some help from some friends, but most of the fabrication I did on my own.
And you wanted the exhaust to come out the side instead of underneath it?
I did. And, for two reasons, really. Like, there's not enough room under the car for the exhaust, but also I just love side pipes, and it gives it a sound that you can't get any other way.
So tell us about the wheels.
The wheels are El Cheapo, $130-something Summit wheels. I got 28 1050 Hoosiers on it, and the front are the matching 17-inch Summit wheels. And a buddy actually gave me those wheels for helping me build a turbo system for his truck. But the tires for those to fit those wheels are like $300-something a piece, and I just wasn't going to do that. So I jumped on Amazon and bought some $80 a piece motorcycle tires and stuck on there. Seems to work great.
So why do you got the front end like that? Is it like the radiator, right?
Yeah. The
tilted at an angle. Is there a special?
Well, that's
or just
the Model T. The Model T radiator would have stood straight up, and they just kind of went over. But I've always liked the 32 Ford style radiator. So, but they're taller. So I wanted the 32 Ford radiator on there, so I put that and the grill shell on here, but I had to lay it back to make it fit. But a side benefit of that is when we get ready to go drag race, I'm going to make a piece of aluminum that will Zeus fastener in here, and that way this angle will help create front downforce while we're racing, help keep the front end on the ground when we really start rolling the power in.
Oh, very nice. And we get to see this thing up on the lift underneath, don't we?
Yep.
You're going to allow us to see that.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and put that up if we can.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look under his undercarriage.
Come on in here and check it out. I haven't looked at it in a little bit, huh? Make sure ain't nothing leaking or falling apart.
All right, this kind of helps you too, just kind of looking at everything here.
Yeah. This is one of the things that I was really excited about was the rear suspension, because if you think about the force on this, when the tire's trying to hook, it's going to try to rotate this up. Well, this pivoting up here as far forward in the cart as it does is going to help it lift and transfer the weight over to the back. So it should help it hook up, and it really does hook up pretty good.
Looks pretty good underneath there too.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I built all this stuff myself. I did all my brake lines and built all my braided stainless. Everything's done in P-clamps and tied up properly. You know, I don't like to do things halfway. I like to do a good job. So
as I'm looking in here, underneath here, and I'm not the biggest mechanic here, but something's peeking out here bright and red.
That's the Uga horn. That was necessary. There was no other option.
We'll have to hear that out here later and check it out.
Right.
Did you customize your shaft there?
Yeah, I built that in my garage.
Shorten it down to make it work?
I did. I took it, and there on these yokes, there's a weld right there, and I take a cutoff wheel and I can split that weld and cut it off, and then use a chop saw to cut that, and then knock them back together. Make sure you've got your yokes indexed, how they should be, or it'll vibrate. And then I take a dial indicator and set it up, and I spin it and make sure it's 100% true, tack it in a few places, and then weld it up. So yeah, I build my own drive chassis.
Pretty neat. Let's go look at the front here. And what do you got in that as a transmission?
350 turbo. This transmission's kind of a funny story, actually. I bought that off of a guy as a core for $50, and I just threw it in my trailer. And when I needed a transmission for this car, I thought I'd use that as mock-up. Well, I went and got it, and when I pulled the pan off, everything looked okay in there. And then I looked, and it had some numbers on it from a friend of mine that builds really great transmissions. So I thought, well, I'm going to give it a whirl. And I just stuck it in there, and it works good. And used BTE converter I got from one of my friends. Got a good deal on that. Got it together. It's a wonderful thing. And then we've got the Amazon low profile oil pan, because obviously we're limited on ground clearance here.
Right.
Vega steering gearbox, cross steer. I had all these came from Speedway Motors. I did a custom panhard bar on it. Steering geometry is as close to perfect as I could get it. It's all my bars are flat, straight. Car handles wonderfully.
That is pretty cool.
And this right here, I did that.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
Yeah, I did that. Actually, I could have got a shorter balancer and got away with not doing that, but I actually did that so that I could stay with truck accessories. And that way, if I'm out racing somewhere and I blow a motor up, I can just go to the junkyard and grab a truck motor and it'll fit right in here without changing parts.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty cool.
Kind of thinking ahead because I know I'm prone to tear things up.
What is your opinion with each of the types of vehicles out there in today's world? You know, you have some people who have newer cars that go fast. You got some people who have old school. So just tell me what your thoughts of all that is.
My thought is you should love your car. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is or if I agree with it, you should love it. And, you know, it should make you feel the way I feel about this. You know, I love this car. It makes me smile. It makes me happy to know that I built it and I have it. And you don't even have to build it. It's like, if you go buy a new Hellcat and you enjoy just driving the car the speed limit, cool. You know, who am I to criticize that? We should all love our cars. And that's one thing I hate about modern car culture is it seems like people try to take something away from other groups because it's not their thing and they don't agree with it. And there's a lot of things out there that aren't my thing, but that don't mean I have to hate them. And, you know, working here at the muffler shop, we see every project car sooner or later ends up at the muffler shop. So we see a lot of them and we see a lot of different things. For the most part, you know, just do your thing. If you love it, you love it. You just drive your car, enjoy your car. That's, you know, really, that's what it breaks down to is the whole desire thing. It's like, do something you enjoy, man. This is not a practice lap. You get one time around and it's over with. You know, you better enjoy your life. I've never seen a hearse pull a car trailer. Enjoy your cars, you know, go drive them. There's more to them than just waxing them and driving them. But as long as people are enjoying their cars, even if that is just waxing them, then that's no business of mine.
And do you have a tip for anybody who has their ride sitting in the garage, kind of like sitting in the garage and they kind of want to finish it, but they don't have the funds. They don't have anything. And I know you said, you know, shop cheap and stuff, but what if they're in the garage and they don't have money and they're just kind of about to give up on it?
But it don't matter where you start, just as long as you start.
And do a little bit as you go.
Do what you can. Once, right? Because I promise you, you show me a project car that somebody's not working on and I can show you things they can do to it that will cost them $0. You should do all of those things that you can do. And once you have passed that, maybe you've had time to accumulate some money. Maybe you've developed some sort of side hustle. Maybe you've developed the skills working on this car where you can make money working on other people's cars, doing things you've learned to do on your car to move your project forward. It really just goes back to determination, just actually taking action. It doesn't matter where you start, just as long as you start.
So tell me about the lights. What about your headlights?
They're terrible. Those are eBay motorcycle lights. They're designed to put on either side of a headlight on a motorcycle for supplemental lighting and probably appearance. And I thought, well, LED were going to be great. They are not great. You can see about to the end of your hand in front of the car, and it's terrifying at night, but we're going to upgrade those.
We're going to upgrade those later?
Yeah, for sure. Because I drive the car, man. It's a total street car.
So he's telling people not to get that.
Yeah, not as your primary headlight, for sure. Yeah, they're not great. Guys, I'm Nate. Thanks for watching. I desire to drive, so I'm going to get out of here.
Join, let's go. Join, let's go. Yeah, we build it, we grind it. That's right, man. We ride it, we cruise it, we build it, we grind it. That's right, we ride it, we cruise it, we build it, we grind it, we ride it, we cruise it, we build it, we grind it, we ride it, we cruise it. That's right, man. We cruise it, we cruise it, yeah. Let's go, homie. We cruising, we cruising. Join, let's go. Join, let's go. Yeah, we built it, we grind it.
How come this isn't going?
You got the lids on, Mom.
Oh.
We grind it. That's right. Let's go.